Welcome to the hand technique and rudiments section of the drumming system. Now, learning hand technique is very important. Let me explain why. For many years, especially when I first started playing drums, I was learning all the essential beats and grooves, fills, some solo ideas, a bunch of tunes. What I started to notice after a while is that my speed came to a halt. So in a sense, I hit a brick wall in my speed. I couldn't get any faster. I'd be watching my favorite drummers play and noticing how fast and how effortlessly they were doing it. My first experience with good technique was with a teacher named Brian Thorogood, who was a great drum set player and a great orchestral snare drummer. The first thing he said to me is, well, we've got to change your technique because you're holding the stick completely wrong. Now, a lot of my teachers prior to me taking lessons with Brian never really focused on hand technique because probably I never brought it up, or maybe they just wanted to get me playing essential beats, fills, solos, and songs. So with this in mind, Mr. Thorogood said, let's sit down and actually fix your grip. Now, I had to kind of put myself in a different headspace to go, okay, I now have to change what I've been doing for the past maybe 4 years. But when I looked at it in the fact that I was doing it incorrectly, I thought change could be a good thing. So we're going to talk about some of the different grips, how to properly hold the drumstick, all the different ways that we can develop finger control, wrist control, to develop speed, power, and control. I've also learned great hand technique from master drummers such as John Fisher, Jim Chapin, and Dom Famularo. Now these are the guys that really set the standards for awesome hand technique. After spending time with these fine gentlemen, I realized, wow, if they could do it, and they're showing me the proper ways to do it and giving me the proper tools to start using for my new hand technique, hopefully someday I can play as fast as these guys. I want to share all of that with you as well. Now, as far as drum rudiments go, I know some of you might be thinking, oh great, here come the rudiments, we were waiting for this. Well, don't let that scare you, because drum rudiments are the alphabet of what we do on the instrument. We learn rudiments so we can create sentences, paragraphs, to actually express ourselves on the instrument. Now, although I'm going to go through all 40 rudiments, you're probably going to find that you may only use a good handful of them, no pun intended, on the drum set at any given time. If you go to college or decide to join a kind of marching band or drum line or anything like that, you're probably going to have to master all 40. I'll just demonstrate them slow enough so you can see, how they're played, the type of sticking, how they sound at a good tempo. And basically, this is going to give you some insight and hopefully a good idea of how they work so you can start practicing them right away. So let's take a look at hand technique and the 40 drum rudiments. Let's talk about matched grip and the various positions and hand angles we can use with matched grip. Now the first thing that I want to show you is what match grip looks like. So generally, if you've ever seen a drummer play, in most cases you've seen him play with his hands looking identical, which is matched. The hands are matched, they look the same. If you see this, this is not match grip. We'll come back to that in a moment. Match grip is your hands look exactly the same. Now the first step is I want to show you how to properly hold the drumstick so we can get the match grip technique down. So I'm just going to use one stick for a moment. I'm just going to sit on my other one here for a second. And what I'm going to do, and I really explain this in really full detail on the Moeller Method Secrets video, so you can check that out as well. And I go into this quite a bit deeper, but for now, here's just a good insight into where we start. So I say, if you're right-handed, let's start with the right hand. If you're left-handed, just do the opposite, start with the left hand. So what I want to do first of all is hold my hand out just like I'm going to shake somebody's hand. Okay? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a gun with my hand, just like that. And I'm going to turn my wrist so it's now facing to my left. Okay? Now what I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to pull my hand back just a little bit, just towards my stomach here. And then I'm almost going to lay the gun down on the drum, but I'm going to raise it up a bit. Okay? So what we're going to do at this point, I'm going to take a look at my index finger. I've obviously got the tip of my finger. I've got joint number 1, joint number 2, and then of course joint number 3. So we'll call the first line from the tip joint number 1, or the first joint. What I want to do is I want to take the drumstick and I want to try to balance it in that first joint. Just like that. Now it might be kind of weird at first because it might want to fall, it might want to fall into your hand. So you might have to create a bit of a cradle. So I'm bending the barrel of the gun. So there's a little bit of a cradle there. Okay? So once you get that, I want you to bring your gun back over to the edge of the snare here. Now what we have to do is we're going to push the stick forward just as so the tip is going to want to end up on the center of the pad, the center of the snare drum, whatever you're using. Okay, now the next thing I want you to do is push down on the back of the drumstick, so you raise the front of the drumstick, and let go. Now there should be some sort of rebound. Okay, if I'm too far back and I do the same thing, you can see how the stick just kind of dies like that. So what we're searching for at this point is an area of the drumstick called the balance point. Okay, now the balance point is the part of the stick that's going to give you the best rebound possible. You might have to search for it for a little bit. I find on most Vic Firth sticks that I use, the balance point is somewhere between the H and the flag, generally in that area, give or take an inch. You just search for it a little bit. Every drumstick's a little bit different, but you're definitely going to be more at the back of the stick. So if I'm at the center of the stick, you saw earlier where it was just basically balancing, and if I'm too far forward, the back of the stick falls. So you definitely can't have that. So you find the spot on the stick, the sweet spot or the balance point, and just see if you can get some rebound. Okay? So once you've found that spot, we're going to take our thumb and place it on top of the drumstick. Now notice that my thumb is on a little bit of an angle to the drumstick. It's not really facing dead on like this moment. We'll do that later in a different grip, but for now, I want to get you creating, it's almost like there's an X happening. I can see my thumb going one way and my index going another. So when I look down towards the stick, I kind of see this letter X happening. It just seems to be a natural position. I'm not really thinking about it. It just seems to be a natural position. So I'm going back over here. Okay. Now notice that the thumb is really securing the drumstick. So the purpose of that is to really secure the stick into that first joint, which we also call the fulcrum point. The fulcrum point is where we're creating that teetering effect of the stick. Okay. So as I put my thumb down, there's a good pressure there, so I'm not using the tip of my thumb, I'm not using the curve of my thumb or the side. I'm just trying to really secure that, like I have to hold it, like, it's life or death situation here, I have to hold the stick. But don't press, just secure it is all you want to do. You don't want tension, okay? So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to turn my hand over so that my palm is facing down. So all I've really done now is this is basically what happens with the back of the stick. It ends up in the soft, cushy part of my hand there. You can see that. Okay. I don't want it to fall into the middle part of my hand. I don't want it to fall in there. I'll explain why in a little bit here, why I don't want that. Because for one, right off the bat I can feel tension in my hand. This just feels really awkward. If I relax my hand and have the stick hit me in the soft pad at the back of my hand there, it just feels very natural and very, very, very comfortable. Very comfortable. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my fingers and gently wrap them around the stick. I'm not going to grip the stick. I'm not going to do this. From this point, I'm just going to simply bring the fingers in contact with the back of the drumstick there. Okay? So if you've got something that looks like that, that's a very, very good starting point. Notice the big gap that I've got here. There's quite a big gap between my thumb and my index. That's okay, because for many, many years I used to close it up. And you can see just by looking at that example, my hand looks pretty tense right now. As soon as I relax it, all the tendons and muscles in my hands completely relax. This is tension. This is almost like making a fist in a sense. By relaxing it, that's definitely much more of a natural position for my hand. So what we do now is just come back to the center of the drum with the tip and just place it there and take a look at your hand. Everything should look good. I got my palms down still. Okay. Top of my hand is facing the ceiling. Looks very natural. I'm not too tense. I'm not cramped. If your snare drum's too low, you might be dipping down, almost look like a cobra head or something like that. You might want to raise your snare enough so it feels very, very natural. You know, the secret to great drumming is playing very, very relaxed. Okay, so once you've got that, you're also going to notice some sticking out of the back. Is grab your other drumstick, and you can go through that whole entire process again if you like, but you don't really need to. All you can do now is match your hands up, you know, hence the term match grip. So just by looking at my hands, I can try to match my left one up to my right. So it kind of looks like that. Okay. I want to make sure that I have the same amount of drumstick coming out of the back of my hand. I want to make sure the fingers are in the proper spot. Make sure the balance point is exactly the same on both drumsticks. And especially for the weak hand, if your left hand is your weak hand, this one is especially important. But they're both very important, but you got to make sure the left hand doesn't suffer in the grip, because that's just going to slow you down in the long run. Okay, so once you've got that, and everything looks pretty good, we're going to start from a complete relaxed position. Now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to put my arms down by my side and totally relax my shoulders, and just have the sticks just kind of hanging down like that. Okay, now from this position, I'm going to bring my arms and the drumsticks up, so they're facing forward right now, just like this. Now I'm going to join the tips, or have the tips facing one another, like I'm going to create a 90-degree angle, or a rooftop, as some drummers will call it. And I'm going to join the tips at the center of the drum. Now, if I place the tips at the center of the drum, take a look at that. But notice that my shoulders aren't out like this, because for one, this is tension in the shoulders. That's just going to get you tired. I see a lot of beginning drummers always wanting to play like this, and they don't realize how tough that is just to hold your shoulders up, and it's very, very tiring. So the key is to completely relax your upper body and have your sticks placed at the center of the drum like that. You'll notice I have a nice 90-degree angle between the sticks. Palms are down. There's a nice gap in there, big enough gap that I could actually get my drumstick through there if I have to. Very relaxed. Now you might look at this and go, wow, man, this is weird, because I'm not used to holding the drumstick this loose. Over time, you will get used to it and your speed will increase dramatically. So at this point, start like this. Now this grip has a technical name. The technical name for this match grip is called German grip or Germanic grip. Palms down, 90-degree angle, from stick to stick. Both hands look exactly the same. Shoulders are in, elbows are relaxed next to my body. It's the Germanic or the German grip. Now, without actually changing my hand technique or my grip, I'm just going to change my hand angle to get to the American grip. Now from this position, from the German position, I'm going to turn my hands just a little bit, so I have a little bit of an angle on my hand now, but I've also got a 45-degree angle with the drumsticks at the center of the drum there. See that? So I went from the Germanic grip to the American grip. So my hand angle has changed slightly. I can see that I have a bit of an angle here, maybe almost like a 45-degree angle to the floor. Okay? And the sticks now have a 45-degree angle as well. So this is the American grip. Now, from the American grip position, what I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to bring my hands in even more. And now my thumbnails are facing up and my sticks are facing more forward, okay? And we're going to play from the wrist, but you can see that my grip hasn't changed at all. It's just the hand angle. So French grip, American grip, German grip. German, American, French. Now some drummers, like Terry Bozzio and Billy Cobham, when they play French grip, they're playing with their sticks facing almost perfectly forward, which is great, as it works. So you're going to notice with this grip, with French, there's a couple of different variations. So you can actually play straight on like that, a little bit of an angle, right? I've seen some drumline guys playing like this. I've seen Billy Cobham play more straight on. So the main thing is just basically the angle of the hands, but notice my thumbnails are facing the ceiling, okay? And that's the French. So you notice these are all being played and demonstrated in matched grip. So get to know those, and we can elaborate more on those later on, or check out a whole bunch of examples on my Moeller Method Secrets DVD. So that's pretty much summing up matched grip. I'd like to talk about the traditional grip. Now the traditional grip is kind of the opposite as the matched grip because your hands are doing two different things. For right-handed drummers, you're going to hold the stick exactly the way that I showed you in the match grip section. If you're left-handed, you can play in the left hand. But the opposite hand, from whichever hand you're using, is holding the stick in quite a different fashion. Let me just play a little bit for you here and show you what the traditional grip looks like. So you've probably seen that somewhere, especially with a lot of the older drummers back in the early days, early 1900s. And that's really where this grip started, you know, even earlier in the 1800s. But it was very popular in the early 1900s, and you can still see many drummers playing it today. A lot of my students ask me, which is better? I don't have an answer for that because I don't think there is one that is better. It's a personal preference. When students come to me and say, can you teach me traditional grip? I say, of course. I always say, but it is a little more involved. It's a little bit of a trickier technique to get down, to play effortlessly, flawlessly, clean, fast. It's a tougher thing to do because we have less hand contact with the drumstick. Let me show you what I mean. But before I do that, you want to check out some of the old great drummers. Louis Bellson, Buddy Rich, Gene Krupa, many of those guys. They were the masters of this technique. The technique's also called conventional grip. Some nickname it the jazz grip, but we know it as the traditional grip. Now popular drummers today, like Thomas Lang and Virgil Donati, prove that this grip can be used in powerful situations and on big drum sets. It kind of amazes me how these guys can move around so effortlessly on a big drum kit, hands all over the place, and make it seem so easy. Well, they've obviously practiced that a lot, which is if it's something you want and you're playing, you need to practice this technique. So let me show you a little bit of how to get started with this. And then you can make that choice. But I've seen a lot of drummers play this grip incorrectly. And when I studied it with various players, Dom Famularo and John Fisher, they showed me some great tips that helped me use this grip. Now, I generally only use the grip in two places. When I play brushes, it's how I was taught, and it just seems very natural, and it almost fits the style nicely. I'm not saying you have to play brushes with traditional grip, but it just makes me feel like all that practice that I put in is worth it. So when I play jazz brushes, I get to demonstrate my traditional grip. And also, when I play jazz, I I play traditional grip just because, once again, it feels like it fits the style to me. I have a more difficult time really smacking the snare with this grip, and it blows me away that Stuart Copeland, the drummer from the Police, can play traditional grip and hit the snare so hard. It blows my mind how awesome that is. Now, one thing to realize with traditional grip is that your hand is actually underneath the drumstick, where in matched grip, your hand is on top of the drumstick. So the weight of your hand in matched is on top of the stick, which is awesome for power because you're pushing down, okay? With the traditional grip, with your hand being underneath the stick, you have to pull the stick down. I mean, we can get some momentum with a wrist and with a good stroke, but our hand is underneath the stick, which means the weight is underneath. Now, this is a real benefit for very soft playing. I have some really nice control. Some of the greatest jazz drummers on the planet have amazing control with their traditional grip hand for that reason. So let's start showing you how this works. So the first thing you want to do is you want to find that balance point, but we already know where it is. It's going to be in the exact same spot as it was in the match grip section. That doesn't change. You find the fulcrum balance point of your stick, that's where it always is. What I suggest for some students is, if you don't remember where it is, if you don't have sticks that tell you the brand and a location where you can actually find it, is just take a pen or a felt marker and put an X or a circle or something, so you always know that's where your balance point is going to be. So starting at this point, we're going back to shaking our hand, just like you're going to shake somebody's hand, but now this time with the left hand. Me being a right-handed player, my traditional grip is my left hand. I actually can't play this grip at all with my right hand because I've never practiced it that way. So you're shaking your hand. Now this time we don't make a gun. What we're going to do is in this little section of my hand right there, kind of the little webby part there of our hand, that's where the drumstick is going to sit. Okay, so I'm finding the balance point, resting it in the little web portion between my index and my thumb, placing the drumstick on the center of the pad, okay, lifting it up. You can see that I have some rebound. Now, one way to check if you have any good rebound is try to dribble it like a basketball. If you can get that happening, you've found the balance point. If you hold it way too far back, this is what happens. I can't get the momentum. It's almost like a basketball with no air in it. So I find that balance point. There we go. So the first thing you might notice is, wow, there's a ton of wood sticking out of the back of my hand here. Well, that's because when we played matched grip, my index finger goes to the same spot and the rest of my hand covers up the drumstick. So keep in mind, there's the balance point right there. Okay. Notice that my hand is now on the front portion of the drumstick. So that's okay. Don't let that fool you. A lot of guys go, oh, I must be holding the stick wrong, because in matched, I could just see a little bit of stick coming out of the back of my hand there. With the traditional grip, wow, look at that. There's like, almost 5 inches of drumstick there. So that's okay. That's correct. That's very correct. Okay. So once you've got this point, next thing you want to do is take your ring finger and place it underneath the drumstick, just like that, and lift the stick up so it's level with the ground. Okay. Now get your pinky under there just to kind of create another support for the ring finger. And I'm kind of playing, on the first joint. I don't want to fall too far back. I definitely don't want to fall where my ring is here. I want it just sort of to fall just behind my fingernail a little bit, just like that. Okay. Now, with the two fingers, the index finger and the middle finger, I'm going to bring it over and just relax these two fingers on top of the stick like that. So if you take a look at what that looks like, Okay? So once you got that, you might be thinking, well, what do I do with the thumb? Well, I've noticed many different drummers with variations of the thumb. I've noticed that in some videos and pictures, Buddy Rich is almost hitchhiking. He's got his thumb pointing kind of back like that. I've seen drummers where I've also seen Buddy in some pictures and other drummers, Joe Morello, where their thumb is on top of their index finger to sort of close that off. I've seen some guys actually put their the thumb on top of the stick like that. That one I find kind of weird, but I've seen it, and some of the guys that can do that can play great. So if it works for you, go for it. So for me, I just tend to generally relax my thumb. I don't want to put any kind of strain or use any kind of muscles to bend my thumb. So to me, it's just a very relaxed feel. It's almost like when I see Joe Morello in some of his videos, it just sort of locks everything off there, just kind of like that. Okay. So at this point, you might be going, wow, how do you play like this? Well, this is the thing. This is the trick. So it's really from the wrist. We get a lot of momentum from almost like, I say, practice like trying to open a door or wiggle a doorknob with your left hand. So you can practice this a lot. Or make a fist. Something that John Fisher showed me a lot was make a fist and try to go back and forth. And I practice this a lot with my left hand just so I could get that that technique down, because a lot of wrist stuff like that. So that's one thing you can practice, and all I'm really doing is just that. And that helps, believe it or not. It might be kind of strange at first, but just sit there and work on that. Get that faster. So we go back to the grip. Now at this point, all I'm going to do is I'm going to play one note. Now if you watch close at what my hand does, now you notice the first time I didn't release my two top fingers, and I kind of kept the stick at a lower stick height. So that's definitely a lot more control. Now what you could also do is release those top two fingers. For more power and more volume, of course. So that's something you can practice, is simply going from palms up to back to the shaking your hand position. Okay, I always try to end up in that position that I started in. Okay, where everything is pretty level as far as my knuckles are facing to the left. I see some guys that learn this technique and they learn how to hold the stick awesomely, and then they try playing traditional grip like this, which in my opinion you've completely lost your balance point. There's no way the drumstick can really do much. Even though I'm holding it in the right spot, I've got nowhere for this to go. And some guys will use it and it'll work for some applications, but you're definitely not going to get fast and powerful by holding your hand. And I also find this is kind of weird. It's like I have to contort my whole body to get my hand like this. So try to avoid playing like this, okay? And get your hand so you're facing, the palm is facing to the right. Now what's happening is as the stick's coming down, it's hitting me in the ring finger lightly. It's not hitting me hard. At first, whenever you learn something new and it's a physical thing, of course drumming is a very physical instrument, you might feel some different, pain. I don't like to use the word pain, but you're going to feel some uncomfortable types of things. You just get used to it. That's if you're playing really loud. I mean, if I was to really try to get like a strong type of stroke with the traditional grip, it's definitely not really my strong stroke. For powerful playing, I'll use match grip. But you can work on it. If you work on it, you'll get it. You'll totally get it, Once again, watch Thomas Lang. It's incredible how hard he can hit the drums. And Stuart Copeland, perfect examples of, hitting the crap out of your drum with the traditional grip. So that's a preference, of course, if you want to play loud or soft. I use it for soft playing. In some of the jazz examples that we did in the video here, you'll notice I played traditional grip. It just feels better, and I have a little more control at a soft volume. Okay. Now, as far as a double stroke goes, a lot of times I get questions saying, well, how do you play a proper double stroke with the traditional grip? Well, as opposed to going tap tap, I just do what I just did, where I'm simply releasing the stick from my fulcrum, letting it rebound, and then catching it again. Okay? And that's why the balance point is so important. If I hold the drumstick back here, it'll work, but I'm finding it harder to control. Find that spot. Wow. All of a sudden, that's really easy. But notice that my hand's always ending up in that same position. So if you practiced, double stroke, you can get something like that. Obviously, you want to start slow with this, but be patient. And with any of these types of grips that I'm showing you, practice on a pillow. That's something that Buddy Rich, told a lot of people to do, and he was living proof that he had the fastest hands in the universe. So strengthening the muscles, strengthening your technique, practicing on a pillow, something that doesn't have any rebound, is a great way to do that. Come back to the practice pad later and see what you can do there. Now, the other question I get about traditional grip is, where did it come from? Why did drummers start playing this? Well, I did some research, because whenever I'm curious, I like to find out, especially if it's on the instrument that I play. And I didn't start off playing traditional. I started off playing matched. And a quick story behind this is when I started studying with Mitch Dorge in Winnipeg, who was with the Crash Test Dummies, he was primarily a traditional grip player. And I had seen videos of Weckl and Vinny and Gadd playing like that, but never really explored it, because I thought those were the jazz drummers. I thought if you're a jazz drummer, you play that. Well, I was playing heavy metal at the time, so why would I want to use this grip? Because I don't play jazz. And when I started studying with Mitch, he was playing this way. So, he had quite a bit of credibility as a great teacher around the Winnipeg area at the time. And I said, well, I got to go study with this guy, because my other teacher, Norm, went on the road with his band. So I took over lessons with Mitch. So we get to the lesson in his house, and he starts playing. I came down the stairs, and he was wailing away on his kit, and he was doing all this traditional stuff, and I thought, oh, this guy's a jazz drummer. Little did I know, no, he was definitely more than a jazz drummer. He could play pretty much anything. But it was a grip that he really preferred, and a lot of drummers and musicians around Winnipeg were, sort of quoting Mitch as being the Vinny Colaiuta of Winnipeg. And same kind of drum kit at the time. He was playing recording custom and played traditional grip, had the same hair, kind of the same glasses. So I was like, cool, I'm studying with Vinny, in a sense. It was kind of fun. So the first thing that Mitch wanted to teach me was brush playing. He says, because I wanted to get into college. He says, well, you have to strengthen your reading. We got to strengthen this. We got to get into that. So we got to start playing some brushes. And this was something that I had never, ever done. This is after only playing drums about a year and a half. And so I didn't have any brushes in my stick bag, so he gave me a pair of brushes. And there was two snare drums side by side. And he starts playing these brush techniques with traditional grip. And I'm kind of like he hadn't even seen me play yet, which is so bizarre. And he's doing this stuff, and I'm kind of like looking at his left hand, like, how's he doing that? And he goes, so grab brushes, and he gives me some brushes. And he says, okay, now I want you to follow me. And we were just doing the circular sweep. And I'm following him, not realizing that I'm playing traditional grip, which I had never done before. And then he showed me some little patterns, and he says, now go home. He says, go buy a pair of brushes and go home and practice that. So I do that, and and then I get a call from Mitchell. I'm going on the road for a couple of weeks with a different band, so we'll see you in 3 weeks. Okay, so I'm practicing these things, and kind of got really hip to the idea of playing brushes on a snare drum. And I was just sort of playing some patterns and trying to play some little things that I already knew how to play with sticks. And I thought, this is kind of cool. Once again, not realizing that I was playing traditional grip. I don't think my grip was very good at the time, but it was giving me the idea of how it worked. So I'd be playing, and then a few weeks later I go back to lessons, and we're doing some other patterns, and then we go over to the drum kit. I remember we go over to the drum kit for the first time, 3 or 4 lessons in, And he says, play me this beat. And he puts a beat up on the music stand. And he looks at me and goes, whoa, why are you changing your grip? And I said, what do you mean? He says, well, you were playing traditional. I'm like, oh, that's what that was called. Okay. And he says, so, yeah. He goes, well, do you play matched? And I said, yeah. He goes, oh, sorry, man. I said, well, hey, no worries, because you can play brushes with traditional or matched. And I kind of like that. I kind of like when I pick up brushes now, it just feels very natural because it was the first way that I was shown. I find that when I go and play brushes with match grip, I feel like I'm stupid or something. Like it just feels really strange and everything's going to fall over, you know. And when I play traditional brushes, it just feels a little more natural. So that's kind of how that started for me. It was something that I wasn't really tricked into. It was just lack of communication, I guess. But I thank Mitch for that, so thanks for getting me into the whole traditional thing. And the other question that I sometimes get is, well, like I said, where did this come from? So I asked Mitch when we were taking lessons, where did traditional grip come from? And he says, back in the early days, which could be late 1800s, early 1900s, he says there was a lot of, Army and cadet and Civil War drummers that had a drum strapped to their hip. And, they would be marching and leading the troops to war and whatnot. And, a lot of times they were trying to keep the soldiers marching in time, so they'd be playing a snare drum up front. He says, but they didn't have snare drums that were mounted to the front like they do nowadays in drum lines and different drum corps. He says, a lot of times, I'm just going to move my seat over here a little bit. He says, you'd have the drum on the side. Now he says, imagine playing matched grip over to the side like that. Now for the right hand, it feels fine. My right hand feels fine. But my left hand feels like it's like my shoulder's way in the back. It's like, wow, is that ever awkward? Now a lot of times these guys had the drum way over here. So if I could just move my seat a little forward even more, just back that up just a hair. Imagine the snare drum being on your left hip. And it's almost like, wow, this is really bizarre. Okay. Now, if I try to play match grip, ooh, that's almost painful. Look at my left shoulder and my left elbow. It's way up there. My right hand feels fine. Right hand feels great. So what a lot of these drummers did is they went, look at my left shoulder now. Okay. If I go back to matched, it's very, very strange. A lot of times also, the snares were tilted just the way that they were hanging or designed to be strapped on like that. They'd be completely tilted up like that. So, just imagine that the drum is tilted. I'll tilt this up with my right hand here. The traditional grip totally made sense. Okay? The match grip would be even weirder because now my hand has to be way up and it would just be a nightmare. So that's really where that came from, was from the old Civil War drummers and the marching guys that had drums that were strapped to their left hip, and they would they simply just put their hand underneath the stick to make it work that way. And what happened after a while, once jazz started to evolve into the rock and roll era and all that stuff, is a lot of drummers still angled their snare drums away from them just because it still seemed very natural. You might see some old footage. I would suggest trying to check out some old footage of some old jazz drummers. And they're playing a normal looking drum set, but their snare drums are tilted away from them. And that's because it was kind of like the same feel that they were used to, maybe from their teachers or their fathers or grandfathers or whatever. And so they just played that way, and it seemed very natural. Old Buddy Rich, old Louis Bellson videos, you see some of that stuff. And that's the reason for it. A lot of the questions come up, why do they have their snare drums tilted away from them? Primarily for that reason. As rock and roll came to play, and they were hitting the drums harder and harder, I noticed over the course of time the snare drums were getting flatter and flatter. Even looking back at like Keith Moon, who played with The Who in the 1960s, his snare was fairly flat. And nowadays we see that the angle of the snare is even coming more towards us. So as opposed to being, the snare being tilted away from us, which makes great sense with traditional grip, having it tilted toward us now, I don't want to say it makes less sense, it just makes more sense to play match sometimes. So that's going to be completely up to you. That's going to be your choice. You know, experiment with your snare angles. Right now with the examples we're doing here, I have the snare extremely flat. I only practice on a flat snare drum or on a flat practice pad when I'm just doing technique stuff, just so I can really focus on one spot of the pad. So that kind of sums up the whole traditional concept, and check it out. You know, practice various rudiments and practice, you know, some beats that you can already play. Try to do a drum solo, you know, some fast fills using traditional grip. There's really no right or wrong. It's really completely up to you. You know, this is an art form where we express ourselves, so you can express yourself however you like. So take a look at the traditional grip. It's time to discuss my favorite topic of technique, which is finger control. Now, finger control is something that I've spent a lot of time on, and I want to share with you all these different ideas of how to get really fast hands. Now, finger control is the complete opposite of wrist control, obviously. Okay? With wrist control, you're playing strokes with the wrist. Okay? So that would be wrist. Okay, so you can see that my whole entire wrist is moving. You can see my fingers are holding the drumstick, so you see the fingers moving with the drumstick, but my fingers aren't doing anything. They're just simply holding the drumstick. All this power is coming from the wrist itself. Okay, I mean, this is arm playing, which is, you don't want to do a lot of that. That's going to tire you out in no time. But what finger control is, this is where you're going to see things like this. Let me show you. Pretty cool, huh? Well, that took a little bit of practice to get that happening. So this is the first thing you might want to start working on. It takes a little bit of time to develop this. But I'm going to show you a bunch of secrets of how to develop finger control. Now, finger control is primarily for speed. Speed bursts, fast, flirty types of fills, and really quick little bursts in your playing. You can also use finger control when playing fast ride patterns, like jazz or funk. Anything like that. Speed metal, I've seen speed metal guys where they're pretty much playing like that. They're not getting a ton of power, but they're getting oodles and oodles of speed. So let me show you how to start developing finger control. Finger control is kind of a hard concept to practice slow. That may seem kind of weird, but because we use finger control for speed, I almost say it's trying to like start a Ferrari off in 5th gear. You know, it's it doesn't really want to go. You want to get to 5th gear and then fly. So what's the first thing you have to practice is getting your fingers to move the drumstick, okay? So the way that I play finger control, if you notice the exercise I just played for you, a little example there, is I was in French grip, okay? I notice that my tips are facing forward and my thumbnails are facing up. So finger control starts in French grip for me. Now, the main reason for that is because my fingers need room to move the drumstick in my hand. If I'm playing German grip, look what my fingers are doing. My fingers will just move the stick, you know, really awkward fashion, side to side, circular little uncontrolled fashion. American grip, same kind of thing, right? If I just go down to the pad here and show you. Very difficult. If I go to French grip, all I'm doing here, I haven't changed my grip at all. I've gone to French grip, and that's another reason that I like to have the stick at the end of my fingers. Not at the very end, but in the first joint, or at least on the first pad, soft part of my fingers. Okay, so in that section right there is generally the momentum portion of my fingers. Okay, I see a lot of guys going, wow, how do you do that? Because they want the hand wants to, you know, do different things and hold the stick like this. So you basically have to train yourself to get this technique happening first. See my hand like that? Okay. Now, the reason for that is because your fingers act as a catapult. If you know what a catapult is, it's going to fling something or throw something the furthest distance if you're at the end. If you put something, let's say, say this is a mini catapult and you've got a stone or a big rock there. If you put it there and you fling that, well, it's not going to go very far, right? It just sort of falls, right? If I put it in the middle, I'll get more distance. You can see that. It's more distance. But at the very end, you can see I can really feel if I just let the stick loosely fly there. It really wants to fly. So the idea is to try to get used to having the tips or the ends of your, not so much the tips, but the ends of your fingers here in contact with the stick. Okay? So from the French grip position on the center of the drum, with my fingers in contact with the stick like that, the first thing I want you to practice is lifting your hand up like this and just trying to move the stick just with the fingers. Notice my wrist is not moving. See that? I mean, the wrist is wobbling a bit because it's attached to my hand, so it has to, but I'm not doing this. It's not a wrist motion at all. It's just the fingers. Just getting fingers used to doing this. So if you've never tried this before, it's going to feel very strange at first, okay? But like I said, with practice, anything is possible, okay? So once you kind of get the idea of that, then I would suggest bringing your hand up like this. This is something you can practice in front of the TV even before you don't even need to go to the drum set to do this. And just do that. What this does is it strengthens the fingers. And of course you want to do both hands. Now the reason I like this exercise so much is because all the weight of the drumstick is at the front, facing my back, and gravity's pulling down on the tips of my drumstick, and I have to sort of use my fingers to get this happening. So I can actually feel that I'm strengthening, and I have to use my fingers. And you can do one finger at a time if you have to develop that. I did that quite a bit. And keep in mind too that finger control is not going to happen overnight. It's something that it's going to take some time to get happening because you're training a whole bunch of new smaller muscles in your hand, right? And you're doing that. Okay. Now probably when you get down to the pad, it's probably still not going to work for you. I mean, it might not, but the thing is to try to practice in the air, because if you can control the stick in the air, and imagine what you could do on the pad with some rebound. Right now I've got no rebound. I literally have to pull the stick back up. When I strike the drum, I'm getting rebound, so it's actually helping me bring the stick back up. Balance point, very, very important in this. Notice that I have not changed the position of my balance point. The balance point is still between the H and the flag on this first stick. If I go too far back, I have no rebound, which is not going to help me for finger control. Let me see if I can play finger control with the stick back here. That's hard. So, same thing. You don't want to be too far forward because now I've got too much weight at the back of the drumstick. Once you find that sweet spot, it just happens for you. It's amazing. Make sure you match up the left stick. Now this was a concept that I found to be very, very cool. And I saw many drummers playing this technique. And I thought, wow, I have to get this in my playing because I really think that that's quite a cool thing to have, is fast fingers for fast speed. I noticed a lot of those guys that are winning those world's fastest drummer competitions are playing fingers, and their stick heights are, like half an inch above the snare, and they're just flying. So that's a good practice as well, is sign up for the world's fastest drummer competition and get your singles together with finger control at very low stick heights, and you can do that. Now, if that's not working, let's say that it's taking a little bit longer for you to develop this technique, and you're kind of going, oh man, like it's just not happening. I mean, it probably is happening. You're probably just not being very patient with yourself. Is you can try a couple different things. There's finger stretching exercises. Gene Hoglan showed me a bunch of exercises for stretching the hands. I mean, you got to be careful. I mean, I don't do this that often, believe it or not. I'm not a big fan of overstretching, just from being in a lot of sports in my earlier years. And racing motocross and being a half-pipe skater, I know what pain is, and I know what injuries are all about. So I don't want to hurt myself. But if you're into stretching yourself, go for it. Just be careful. Don't pull anything or break anything. You know, there's different ways to exercise and stretch properly. And like I said, I don't do a lot of these, but every now and then I will, just to kind of see, as you know, I start to get a little bit older, I want to make sure everything's still moving. But one thing that I really think is awesome is something called the finger burn exercise. And I want to share this with you. Okay, so first of all, what I want you to do is I want you to hold your hands out, both hands, and try to stretch your fingers back as far as you can. It's almost like somebody's pushing down on your fingers, but you're just using the muscles to push your fingers back as far as you can. It's like right there, I feel a really nice stretch. Okay, then relax, and you're going to feel all the blood flow in there. It's like, whoo, that was good. Okay, do it again. Hold that. You know, try this with me. You'll be amazed. Okay, so relax one more time. Shake it off. Now from this point, I want you to join your index finger tip with your thumb on both hands. Okay, so you kind of look like that. I do the same thing. Stretch them out. Oh yeah, I feel that. Early in the morning here, I feel this. Okay. Relax. Now, this is the big one. Are you ready? Follow me. We're going to stretch all the way out, all the way in. It's like early morning calisthenics for drummers. But look at my index finger and my thumb. They're not moving. Okay? So keep doing this. Keep going. Don't stop. Starting to feel something? I know I used to. You're probably feeling a burn. You're probably feeling it in the fingers, in your knuckles, maybe a little bit in your wrist, but definitely in your forearms. You guys feel it? Let's go a little faster. Keep going. There was a time where I could only do this for 5 seconds. Now I could do this for 5 minutes. Not that I want to, but I have stretched all of the muscles in my hands and in my wrist and in my forearms so that when finger control is needed, I don't have to worry about muscles that aren't stretched. Just like a gymnast who can't touch his toes. Not going to be a very good gymnast. Okay? So you might be thinking, how is he doing that? Well, I did it every single day for as long as I could. Once I felt the burn, I stopped, shook it off, tried a little more, you know, and keep going. I've got to the point where I've got pretty powerful fingers. You can hear my fingers slap me in the back of the hand here. Hear that? So keep going. That's the goal. That's the ultimate goal, okay? So you can definitely stop if you haven't already, you know, shake it off. And that's usually my warm-up. Like I said, I'm not really a big, you know, stretching guys. I know guys that wrap their sticks around their heads and do all kinds of, you know, Cirque du Soleil type of exercises, and I'm just too scared I'm going to pull something. So by doing that, you felt it. I'm pretty sure you did. So shake it off, and then you can go back and start practicing, you know, your finger techniques on the sticks. And, you know, the result is obvious once you got it. So you might be wondering, well, what do I practice? I mean, just that? No, we've provided a very cool sheet, and it's just called Finger Control Technique. And there's a bunch of different exercises on there that I want you to practice at various speeds. I'm going to demonstrate some of these slow so you can see how they work, but your goal is to try to get them as fast as possible. So if we look at the Finger Control Technique section, number 1 is simply just playing 4 rights and 4 lefts. Now something to keep in mind, when you are playing finger control, your wrist has to kick off the initial stroke. You can't just start with fingers. I mean, you can, but it doesn't sound very good, and it's hard to get the momentum going there. So when I play 4 finger control exercises in a row, notice that my wrist started the first one, but the fingers were also ready to continue. Okay, so number 1 is 4 rights, 4 lefts, and you can do this, you know, forever and ever. So you can practice that one over and over and over. The thing that I find is with some of these exercises, I can't play them too slow because my wrist wants to play when I play slow. And fingers, like I said before, are generally used for faster speeds. So you can start slow, but it might be challenging. So I would really suggest working on the finger burn exercise, working on all this stuff, so you can get those fingers faster. Then your goal is to put all those exercises in time. Now, number 2, we're going to go from 8 16th notes to like 16 32nd notes. Basically, I'm going to play 4 rights and 4 lefts, and then 2 beats of 32nd notes with single stroke roll. So it sounds something like this. Okay, number 3, we're going to play a 2-bar pattern. 1 full bar of right, 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 left, left, or sorry, right, 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 left, 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 right, 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 left, 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 and then a full entire bar of single stroke roll with 32nd notes. Sounds something like this. So on and so on. Number 4, we're going to play 16th notes, single stroke roll for 1 bar, double stroke roll, but with the fingers in the 2nd bar. So all the way through is all 16th notes. You're not going to change the speed of the double stroke. You're just going to change the rudiment from single strokes to doubles. Now that's another thing too, is with the double stroke roll, it doesn't always have to be a rebound. You can learn to play right, right, left, left, which is actually really, really good for playing on a drum that has no rebound, like a big floor tom or any kind of gong bass drum or anything that you might have like that. If you want to play some doubles, you probably won't get any rebound off of those types of drums, so you want to learn how to play some doubles with finger control. Would sound something like this. So you can practice that one as long as you like. Now the last one, number 5, we call this the arrowhead routine. And it's kind of cool. This is an exercise that kind of gets your brain going a little bit here, because sometimes practicing technique can be a little monotonous, a little tedious, and a little boring. So what you got to do is you got to make it fun. Make it interesting, or make it so you're not so much even thinking about what your hands are doing, but maybe think about a pattern, which could be a little more challenging. Now what happens in this exercise is we go from 3 in each hand 4 times, to 4 in each hand 4 times, to 5, to 6, all the way up to 12 per hand. Then we come back down. So after we play 12, we come back 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. So this one, what I like to do with this is basically count out loud, and I'm not going to change the speed, but I have to keep in mind of how many notes I'm playing. So this is not only going to work on your finger control, it's going to work on the amount of notes that you're playing per bar. It's also going to help if you ever want to do any odd time or odd number phrasing, which is actually going to make your life so much easier. This one's hard to practice to a metronome, because if you put the metronome on and you have this, right? The 3s are easy. Right, 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 left, 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 right, 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 left, left, left. The 4s are easy. Right, 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 left, 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 right, 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 left, 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 left. But as we get faster and faster with the amount of notes we got to play, try fitting 12 notes between these snaps. It's very challenging to do. Now that's something you can try. Some of you advanced guys can try that. You can actually try to play this exercise with a metronome, which means each group will get faster. Or you can just do what I'm going to do an example here. I'm going to try to count these. Just do them nice and slow, and it gets you thinking. You can look at the sheet, you can study it, you can memorize it, whatever you want to do. But the main thing to remember is 4 groups in each hand once through. Okay, so right, 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 left, 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 right, 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 left, left, left. That's 4 times of, a 1 on each hand with 3 notes. Then we go and do 4 notes each, 5 notes each, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, then back down 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. So I pretty much have this one memorized, but I'm going to have to glance up at the sheet every now and then just to make sure I'm on the right track. But I will count out loud so you can hear what I'm doing. And I'll do it slow, and like I said, it's harder to play some of this stuff slow with fingers, but just to demonstrate this exercise, I'll give you an idea and try to play these with fingers the best that I can. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 1, 2, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1, 2, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So you can see, it's a little bit of a crazy exercise. Really gets the brain going. The whole time I'm sitting there thinking about all these different numbers that I have to play. Now, but not realizing it, that I'm actually practicing finger control there. So all of a sudden it makes practicing technique more interesting and not so boring. And also, if I make a mistake, I'll go back and try it again. Or maybe I'll come back later and try to play it faster, try to play it slower. There's a whole bunch of different ways you can make your fingers absolutely fly. You don't have to sit there and boringly just play singles all day long. Make it more interesting. So good luck and have fun with developing your finger control.